Hey there, welcome to Nocturnic YouTube channel. We focus on all things supernatural and horror. From creepy stories to deep dives into eerie encounters, we cover it all. If you're into that kind of thing, make sure to subscribe and stick around for more. Today we've got a story from someone who, well, let's just say he's dealing with something rare, something that might just make your skin crawl. Let's hear his story, and after that, we'll try to make sense of it. Let's dive in. I work a standard 9 to 5 job at an office downtown. It's nothing special, just spreadsheets, emails, and an endless cycle of coffee refills. I clock in, work, chat briefly with coworkers about the weather, and clock out. Routine is comforting, it's predictable. Last week that predictability ended. It started on a Thursday. I had a big report due to next morning, and as much as I hated it, I had no choice but to stay late. The office was practically deserted by 8 p.m. Just me, the hum of my computer, and the occasional creak of the old ventilation system. The overhead lights buzzed faintly, casting their usual sickly white glow. I was halfway through a particularly tedious section of data entry when I heard it. A distant scream. It was faint but unmistakable, a woman's voice, raw with fear. I froze. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. The sound seemed to come from somewhere outside, but when I turned to the window, I saw nothing. Just the empty parking lot and the dimly lit streets below. The office was on the 10th floor, so if someone was screaming, they had to be far away. I waited, listened. Nothing. Shaking it off, I turned my back to my screen, convincing myself it was just some late-night street noise. Maybe a drunk person shouting. Maybe some kids playing around. The city wasn't exactly silent at night. By the time I finished my work, it was nearly midnight. I shut my laptop, grabbed my coat, and stepped out in the hallway. The office was eerily quiet. Even the cleaning crew had left. My footsteps echoed as I made my way to the elevator. I pressed the button, and I stepped inside. Just as the door started to close, I heard it again. The same scream. It was closer this time. A chill ran down to my spine. I jabbed the close button, my pulse quickening. The door shut, and I rode the elevator down in the tense silence. When I stepped outside, the streets were empty, nowhere in sight. I drove home in silence, trying to convince myself it was nothing, just my mind playing tricks on me after a long, stressful day. But that night, as I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, I heard it again. A woman's scream. It was distant at first, then closer. It sounded like it was coming from outside my apartment. I leaped out of bed and rushed to the window, expecting to see someone in distress. But the street below was empty. My heart pounded against my ribs. I grabbed my phone, debating whether to call the police, but what would I even say? That I kept hearing a scream, but had no idea where it was coming from? I could already imagine the dismissive tone of the dispatcher. I stayed up for hours, waiting, listening, but the scream never came again. Not that night. The next day, I dragged myself to work, exhausted. I told myself it was just stress, overwork, a weird auditory hallucination from staring at the screens for too long. But that night, it happened again. And again the night after that, every single night. Like clockwork. The scream always started faint and grew louder, always seeming to move closer. Yet I could never find its source. The more I searched, the more distant it seemed, as if it was deliberately avoiding me. By Monday I was a wreck. I barely got any sleep. My coworkers noticed, my boss even asked if I was sick. I just muttered something about allergies and kept my head down. That night, I decided to record it. I set up my phone by the window, hit record, and waited. Sure enough, just past midnight, the scream came again. My heart pounded as I checked my phone. The recording was clear, crisp. But when I played it back, there was nothing. No scream, just silence. I stared at my phone in disbelief. I knew I had heard it, it wasn't in my head, but the recording told a different story. That was when I realized it wasn't normal, and it was not going to stop. The exhaustion, the paranoia, the fear, it all started to eat me. I felt like I was losing my grip on reality. The anxiety became unbearable every night. I lay awake, waiting for the scream, knowing it would come, knowing I would find nothing. Finally, I scheduled an appointment with the doctor. I told him everything, well, almost everything. I left out the part where I thought I was being haunted. Instead, I blamed it on stress, on insomnia. He nodded knowingly, scribbled something down, and handed me the prescription for sleeping pills. "You need to rest," he said. "Your body is exhausted. Take this, but be careful not to exceed the dosage." That night, desperate for relief, I took the pills, more than I was supposed to. I just wanted one night of sleep, an uninterrupted sleep, and I got it. For the first time in days, I drifted off quickly, but then in the middle of my sleep, I heard the scream. It tore through my dreams like a knife through fabric, but this time I saw something. A woman. She was unnaturally tall, her limbs long and thin like stretched out shadows. Her skin was pale, almost translucent. Her face was gaunt, her eyes sunken and black like two bottomless pits, and her mouth, well, her mouth was impossibly wide, twisted in an eternal silent scream. She was staring at me, screaming without sound, her thin hands reaching toward me as if trying to tell me something. I woke up with a jolt. My body drenched in sweat, my heart pounded like a drum against my ribs. I sat up, gasping for air, my mind struggling to process what I had just seen. I don't know what to do anymore. The scream has not stopped. It's not just a sound, it's something more. It's following me, invading my mind. Has anyone else experienced this? Is there anything I can do to make it stop? If I see her again in my dreams, what should I do? I'm losing my mind. I need answers. Please. After hearing this chilling story, we have to ask ourselves, what exactly is happening to our narrator? Could there be a rational explanation? Or is something far more sinister at play? Let's try to help him and try to find answers together. Since the channel is dedicated to the supernatural, let's approach this from that perspective. What if this is not just a scream, but something far more sinister? You're hearing screams, but no one else can. You are seeing something in your dreams, something reaching out, watching, following. That alone tells me we are not dealing with a simple ghostly story here. This is not some lost soul rattling chains for attention. No, this is something with intent. Let's see. At first glance, science might offer a few answers, okay? Auditory hallucinations, stress-induced paranoia, sleep paralysis. Yeah, sounds logical. But let's be honest. Does it really feel like a simple case of exhaustion? Unlikely. There is a pattern here, a consistency, that doesn't fit with the random hallucinations. The scream is not just some stray noise, it follows him, gets closer, and the moment he takes those sleeping pills, that's when he finally sees her. Well, whatever the cause may be, one thing is certain. This is not just some trick of the mind. What if this isn't just a scream but something far worse? Who or what is she? Spirits don't just appear for no reason. They are bound to something like people, places, events. Okay, maybe she's a wraith, lingering between worlds. Her death unfinished, her suffering endless. Wraiths are not just ghosts, they are something worse, souls consumed by whatever bound them to this world. Rage, sorrow, or fear. The Scots and Celts knew them well. They believed that seeing a wraith, especially your own, was a death omen. In Nordic tales, they are linked to the Draugr, restless spirits that feed off the living. They are not just here to haunt, they have purpose, like maybe vengeance, maybe something else. But then there is another possibility, the scream. Yeah, the warning. It also sounds like a banshee. You have heard of them, right? In Irish mythology, banshees weren't necessarily evil. They did not kill, they just warned. For example, some families even had their own personal banshee, a spirit wailing before death came knocking. The Scots had something similar. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was called the Bin Nige, a ghostly woman washing the blood-stained clothes of those doomed to die. Or maybe she's something older, something forgotten. Maybe she's reaching out to the only one who can hear her. Well, it could be something else too. The Japanese have the yurei, spirits bound to the living world by powerful emotions like anger, sorrow, regret. They haunt those who disturb their unfinished business. In Slavic folklore, the rusalka lures people to their doom, their voices carrying through the wind, calling out for someone to join them. In every culture, spirits that scream are never just noise. They are trying to tell you something, or worse, they are trying to take something from you. But why him? That's the real question, isn't it? Why does she keep coming back to him specifically? Well, there are two possibilities. First, he's vulnerable, weak mind, exhausted body, breaking under stress. Whatever this thing is, it's so cracks forming and slipped right in. Happens all the time. People under extreme stress sometimes, open themselves up to the things they shouldn't. Tired minds see what the rested ones ignore. In that case, he's an easy prey. I'm not trying to scare you though. Or... On the other hand, he's not weak at all. Maybe he's stronger than most. Some people are just, different. They see things others don't, hear things that are meant to stay unheard. The walls between worlds are thinner for them, And spirits, they notice. They latch on. If that's the case, this is not the first time something like this has happened to him. And it sure as hell won't be the last. Well, but what if this is not a spirit at all? We have seen that before, right? Like some entities, the more evil kind. They don't attack outright, they wear you down. Fear makes people weak, it clouds their judgment, drains energy, breaks their mind down piece by piece. And once you are defenseless, that's when they strike. Will this be one of them? A demon? Testing its prey? Seeing how much terror it can instill before making its move? Well, I don't know. It would explain why no one else hears it though. Why it keeps getting closer, why it won't stop. So, what can he do? First, he has to stop reacting the way it wants him to. Fear feeds things like those. If it's looking to drain his willpower, he needs to stop giving it what it wants, right? That means staying calm. No matter how bad it gets, just stay calm. Second, confronting it in his dreams. Good work. Spirits, especially ones tied to subconscious, often communicate through dreams. If he can gain control, like lucid dream, maybe he might be able to ask what she wants. Of course, that's assuming she wants to talk to him. Third, he needs to start paying attention to his surroundings. Any changes in the environment, shifts in mood, sudden bursts of anger, dread, sickness, anything. Basically signs of something unnatural lingering nearby. If this thing's physically enough to be heard, it might be leaving other traces behind as well. And then there is the last, most unsettling possibility, but I still have to say it. What if she's not a threat? What if she's just a warning? If she's trying to get his attention, then something else might be lurking just out of the sight. And if that's the case, well, the real horror has not even begun yet. So, what do you think? Still just stress? Or is it something clawing its way through the wheel, trying to be heard? Either way, you'd better find out fast before the screaming turns into something worse. I wish you all the best. I don't know who you are, but I hope this helped in any way. Alright, that's my take on it. What do you think? Could be demonic entity? Or is he just losing his mind? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more chilling stories and in-depth analysis. Who knows what we'll uncover next. See you in the next video.